Hi, everyone. I'm Stan Garber here, one of the co-founders and presidents of Levelpath. I am super excited to have Sarah Toomey here with me. Sarah joined us not too long ago as our head of finance. But before you were a finance leader, you were actually a practitioner in procurement world.
Hi, Stan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I did start my career in procurement. After some years of consulting, pivoted over and did procurement, started as category manager with some time in retail at the Gap and at Levi's. I then really got into kind of the whole suite of procurement with Anaplan through the years of growth there.
And that's where we had a chance to actually meet. It's been like a decade now, I feel like.
I think we're definitely more than 10 years, probably approaching 15 years of knowing each other at this point.
I love it. Now, Sarah, so you were a practitioner. One of the things that we want to get into in this conversation is the evolving role of procurement. And we wouldn't be starting a conversation without at least bringing up AI, right? So let's just get into it. What's actually been changing fundamentally in procurement with AI? And really, even in the last few quarters, we've seen a tremendous growth of AI within the market and how folks use it with Claude introduction, OpenAI being widely accessible now. Like, what are procurement teams doing differently now?
Absolutely. I think that the time of kind of using Google to search for things has now completely shifted in the way that we're working. I think there are kind of so many areas where the procurement teams have been able to kind of shift how they work. I think that the main shift is the tactical pieces really can happen in minutes instead of hours or even weeks, whether it's putting together sourcing events that can happen just kind of instantaneously, or as detailed as spend analysis and understanding kind of where dollars are going to be spent even before spend has happened.
You're actually in the seed where you're going through approvals. You're seeing this at Levelpath, but you're seeing it everywhere. What are some of the ROI? What are some of the real benefits AI can drive in the equation, like that you've seen both in your seat here at Levelpath, but then really in even our customers or practitioners, because you have a huge network that are really seeing these things?
I think the most exciting thing about AI being in the space kind of across every department and every company across the world right now, but within procurement, if I hone in on that, I think it's a matter of teams being able to have so much more data at their fingertips to be able to have in the beginning of conversations to all the way when they're kind of hitting renewals and going through the contracting process. There's just so much more data and intellect that we can have at our fingertips in
contracting
those discussions.
Is huge. At Level Up, we had Vicky from Instructure. She was talking about a normal process, and she was like, hey, I was able to reduce something that was taking 30 days down to 1 day from a review cycle, like from that process. Like, that is a huge time efficiency gain.
I mean, some of the examples that I use specifically when I think about contracts is if I'm trying to get out of a contract or if I decided not to renew a contract, the speed at which I just can immediately kind of understand the contract agreement and make sure that I have all the ducks in a row to kind of close out that relationship. That stops a lot of the vendors that just kind of renew automatically, and you miss those opportunities to really kind of terminate when you want to or shrink your vendor base.
Yeah. Now that also brings up an interesting question too. How do you elevate the role? More strategic versus tactical. Now, I think you still the tactical has to be there. Like, you got to do the job. But like, how are you seeing that change literally right now in the market?
I mean, isn't it great that we don't have to spend our time on the tactical? That's the big shift that I think we're in the midst of right now, is that if the tactical pieces can be handled, if there is intelligence that understands what I'm about to do because I know that I'm going to renew that set of agreements, and I can go into conversations with the executive team and be very well versed on kind of where our dollars are going, where are they going to be going in the future, and making sure that I'm kind of able to surface that information for those conversations to be more strategic, and the tactical work can happen without a whole lot of time and effort in there as well.
Very much so. And also, like, the tactical, as we talked about, you don't have to do as much of it, but the reality is you can get so much more of it done so quickly. So being able to set this up and letting the engine, the flywheel start happening, and we've seen this with agents, you're building these flows, the contract renewal, even sourcing, like, hey, would you like me to go out to market based on these parameters that I've set up? Sourcing
becomes an opportunity for teams and departments that in the last few years didn't have enough staff to be able to kind of handle sourcing activity. Now you can make sure that it happens without much effort or work there.
And it brings up a really cool topic. When I think about the next role of the CPO evolving, right? One of the things that you and I have spoken about is also, how do we think about the new KPIs? How do we think about the new metrics? How do you think about the new skills that we have to do? How's the role going to change, and how's the CEO adapting to this?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think we're at this point where it's an expectation that we know where every dollar is being spent, what department is spending where, how are we leveraging vendors, where is the risk saturated, where are there areas where we can consolidate, where are there areas where we need to have more investment, things like that. And I really think that the procurement team can be the insights for the finance team to be making those decisions in a different way. And so that's where I think it can evolve for sure.
Yeah, and one of the areas that we talk about quite a bit here, like the next evolution of the role too, and like the idea of procurement ops, the idea of like procurement ops has been around for a while, but really this idea of taking procurement ops and making it agent ops. I don't know. You've seen this. You've seen how folks are talking about this. We've seen this in other segments of the market already. Definitely in engineering,
Absolutely.
Customer success. Like, what do we think about? How do you think about that?
I mean, what I really think is for kind of all of us, we have to think about how we're shifting from doing the work to training an agent to do the work on our behalf and making sure that everything is happening the way that we expect it to happen. And so I think procurement ops is a great area where if we had the right infrastructure in place and the right systems to handle that, then the procurement ops team ends up being a facilitator for the business, really. Okay, Stan, let's turn the table a little bit. You asked me a lot of questions. Time for me to ask you some questions and get some advice from you.
Well, let's see if we can do this.
There's a lot of AI noise right now. We all see it. It's around us. It's exciting, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking and a bit terrifying. As you think about the procurement teams and how they think about it, but particularly the chief procurement officer, what should they be doing right now about AI for their business?
Yeah, I love that question. So what is your AI playbook is kind of the question that I would ask leaders right now. And the AI playbook's already been written in other industries and other spaces. We've seen tremendous adoption and success in IT. We've seen it in customer success. We've seen it on the sales side of it. So we've actually seen this already. The playbooks are written and like there's ways to go do this.
What would your playbook look like for a CPO?
So it comes down to three things. Number one, you're going to start with really upskilling the team, leveling it up. The idea here is what we want to do is we want to introduce new level of skills to your organization. And that honestly starts with just going to your team and being like, are they using AI in their everyday? And if they aren't, whether it's getting access to Anthropic, to Copilot, to Cloud, and actually getting them to use it. And then showing them the different skills with prompts, how you do it, how you access that information. It's just different. If you haven't done it before and for the first time, and it's creating
It's new to everybody.
It's new to everybody.
Yeah. And it's new every day. Every day there's something new.
You don't have to go through the fire hose there, but just being able to access it.
Yeah.
So it's literally having teams go to events, go to conferences, and there's so much online education that you can jump into. So that's one. All right. You ready for number two?
I'm ready.
Number two. This one's an important one. Agent ops. So today in procurement, there's always a systems person. Procurement ops.
Procurement ops.
You've done that in the past, I think so.
Sure have.
Right. So procurement ops runs the technology and puts that all together with other applications. I think it's time for one, either that role to evolve, or most importantly, a new role needs to be created. Agent operations, which actually means creating those agents on platforms like Levelpath or others that you have internally to go do certain steps and actions. And that is a very different skill set. Once you jump in and start thinking about how you orchestrate all of these through that agent experience, it's a different skill set to develop and creating a role for that. And if you need it, we even have a job rec for it here at Levelpath to talk you through it. Now, you bring it all together, and the most important thing I think at the end of the day that forces that to happen is really measuring the results, and that's a new set of KPIs. I think that's the third pillar in this playbook. And these KPIs start pretty simple. We start with what percentage of my team is actually using AI. You've got a team of 10 people, 30 people, how much you're actually using in everyday activities. I mean, you don't have to do crazy things, but actually using AI from email drafting to contract review to others, you just have to start questioning the team and seeing that. Then after that, you go into, let's actually talk about the number of workflows you've automated. What actions have you done it? And then the third one is how many active agents you've built that are actually doing. And you could do small things like contract reviews or sourcing reviews. Like how many of these are actually doing a full small step and then end-to-end workflows. And I would say those three simple metrics to add out to the output outside of savings, which aren't going away. I'm not saying those will go away. I think savings, spend under management, all of those will be there, but a new set of KPIs that you're showing leadership is critical to change this behavior and to really get everybody ready. And that kind of puts the cherry on top of how I think about the AI playbook.
Okay, great. So as a reminder for everyone, your AI playbook is to up-level the team, have an agent ops role, and have the new right KPIs for this kind of new world. That we have.
Easy to say, hard to do. But those are the three things that I would think about doing. I want to end it with a fun question. When you think about AI will never replace a procurement leader who can blank.
AI will never replace a procurement leader who can be the conductor for the business and have controls in place to be able to manage kind of across the board every dollar that business is investing in itself.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks, everyone.